Alright, now that you've loaded all of your interactive slides into the presentation and customized those slides, let's see if we can't launch this puppy into show mode and see how to collect votes. Alright, before you launch any PowerPoint presentation into show mode that has ARS Slides attached to it, you want to make sure of a few things. You'll want to first make sure that your base is connected, and right now we see a red circle, base is disconnected. So let's investigate that. We'll go into Tools, Base Settings, and you want your base to show up in this window. So we're going to hit refresh. The base will show up in this window, and once you see the base in this window, you're good to go there. Your software recognizes your base. One other thing that you want to make sure of is that your input device or input source is set to response devices. Those are your keypads. So we're good there. Your base is recognized. You have your keypad set to be the input device. So now let's hit F5 and launch this into show mode. So F5, here's your first slide, and I'm just going to use the right arrow keys to advance through my slides. So once you get to an ARS slide, you'll see that the polling is open up top and the response counter is here. This is where the presenter can see the responses come in instead of the response counter that you put on your slide that's usually down here. Alright, so let's get a couple votes on this slide here. And this is the question that we're going to use to as half of our compare responses slide. This is the pre-question, so you're getting an initial reaction from your audience. Maybe they don't really know what to expect yet, so they would choose neutral, disagree, or maybe they don't agree at all. So you close the polling. A few beats later, the bar graphs will appear, and I'm just going to advance to the next slide here using my right arrow key. Alright, so this is where people can choose which team they are on. Alright, close the polling. Now if somebody chooses wrong and they're not on a certain team, or they made a mistake and didn't choose right, you can reopen the polling on any certain slide as long as you remain on that slide. And that's just by pushing F5 or this icon up top here, and now people can add votes or just change their mind. On to the next slide here. Alright, and this is one of the questions where we attached a correct answer to. So I'm going to let a few of the keypads get the correct answer. Alright, and then the next slide here, I'm just going to let one of the same keypads that got it right before get the right answer, and everyone else will get it wrong. Here's the results. Alright, and the next slide is the leading participant slide. So you see that keypad 227 got both of those questions right. 367 only got one question right, and 406 got neither question right. And the next slide here are the team score slides, and there you go. Blue team is in the lead. Alright, and this is the second of our two questions that we are going to show the results for on the compare responses slide. This is the post question. So now that the audience has heard all of your information in your presentation, they can vote on how well they agree or disagree. And hopefully if you've gone through your presentation and convinced them otherwise, now they will agree or strongly agree with you. And there are the results there. Alright, so when you get to your compare responses slide, you'll see the results automatically adjust for you, and you'll see the first time that you ask the question, the results show in red, or the top bar graph. The second time you ask it is the blue bar graph here. Alright. This is the demographic slide that we're using. Alright, close and show the results there. And the next slide, we're going to ask this question to the audience. So we're going to get the entire audience's feedback on this one slide. And now the next slides will automatically show just the males in the audience. And this is the last slide that we have here, and we have a few more objects that we inserted on this slide. You'll see a clock in the lower right, a response counter in the lower left, and an answer now indicator in the upper right. So because you have a clock, people can still vote as long as the polling is open. And you'll see one vote come in, and that keypad ID will get listed in the response grid down here. You'll see the response counter climb as well as the response counter up here. And whenever you want to start the clock, you can just hit the right arrow key or whatever you're using to advance through your slides, whether it be a remote control, spacebar, or right arrow key. Start the clock and more people can vote. And once that clock reaches 0, the polling will automatically close and the results will show just a moment later. There you go. Alright, that's the end of our show. We collected all of our responses. Good job.